So the variation I've been working on for this past block is a power bar with kilo plates and bands. Bar and kilo plates means there's not gonna be like any bend in the bar. So I have to get into a really good position, create a lot of power off the floor. Then I have to continue to accelerate that bar past my sticking point, or else that band is gonna try to pull me back down. Today, I'm working up to a single at 300 kilos. At the top, the bands add like 25 kilos of tension, so it'll be like 325 kilos at the top. One other wrinkle is that before, we usually do waves. So, do like 8-5-3, 8-5-3, or 5-3-1, 5-3-1, something like that. In between each rep, when I have reps, I have to wait 4 seconds between those reps, because one of my biggest weaknesses in the deadlift is that first rep, making sure I'm in a really good position and able to create a lot of power off the floor without the stretch reflex of the eccentric of the deadlift. So between the variation and having to wait, this is really highlighting a very specific weakness of mine that should carry over extremely well when I add a deadlift bar. This is gonna be the heaviest I've gone since OSG, actually. We've been focusing on a lot of variations where I'm relatively weak, and we haven't really pulled a lot from the ground. The most I've done, I think, is just like slightly under this on an elevated deadlift. I did a heavy 5 on snatch grip. So overall, difficulty-wise, this shouldn't be anything like crazy difficult. This is really about building positioning over just like total strength. 300 might not be crazy heavy. Like if this was a deadlift bar with pound plates, it wouldn't be that hard. But we get those, percentage multipliers of difficulty with the stiff bar, kilo plates, the bands. But most of my deadlift is being built on other days or other exercises. So I have a Smitty deadlift on day 4. And then I also have all the stuff for today that's really building my posterior chain. So the importance there is that when I'm in this program, I'm dialing into hitting certain positions and doing the lift well and correctly, not just like getting the weight up. You might notice that there's no music in the background. That's because I'm trying to do this with the least amount of hype possible. So trying to stay away from a sympathetic nervous tone so I can really kind of learn with each individual rep and not just gonna be totally high arousal and just ripping it off the floor. You'll notice when I go for my top set, I'll probably play some music, but not anything that's like a hype song or anything to try to get like, crazy hyped. It's just about kind of learning at this point right now. So being able to lift heavy with low arousal, away from a kind of full sympathetic nervous tone. You'll probably notice each rep I do, kind of adding an element. So it could be straps, belts. This round, I'm adding shock. So one of the things I like to do is make sure that all the elements I'm gonna use are all applied on my last warm-up. So I get a little bit of a dry run with everything I'm gonna use, whether that's, pressing, deadlifting, whatever. I don't wanna add a layer that may slightly change something right before I'm about to hit my top set. I wanna go on my top set knowing everything's locked in and everything's ready to go. All right, double here. That's pretty easy. A little easier than expected, actually. So we've been adding, like 10, 15 kilos a week, in waves, usually going up to a number and then 5 kilos heavier on the second wave to some top sets. I've done singles for the past couple of weeks. And actually, I've done, I think, 265, 275, 280, 280 last week. And this moved basically at the same perception of exertion as those other ones, which is really good. With this variation specifically, I feel like I'm just like this far away from getting into a really, really good position. You can see I'm pretty kind of tilted forward. So getting some whip out of a deadlift bar is gonna help me to just be that little bit better leveraged to be able to rocket weights up there. So super excited for what the next couple of blocks bring. And I don't really see a reason why I won't be hitting an all-time deadlift PR at some point in the future. So, see ya.